Have you ever felt like you're in the wrong niche? Like maybe you've built something successful, but deep down, you know something isn't quite right. Well, that was me, and 3 months ago, I did the unthinkable. I shut down my coaching business that was making me between $40,000 to $50,000 each and every month. A business I had spent the last 4 years building from the ground up. And in that moment, I wasn't sure if I was making the smartest move of my entire life or completely sabotaging everything I had worked hard for. And here's the craziest part. I was completely wrong about almost everything. So here's what happened. My coaching business was thriving. I was helping business owners break through self-sabotage and scale. My income, well, it was pretty consistent. I had great clients, and from the outside, everything looked perfect. But here's what nobody actually saw. I started feeling disconnected from my work. Something felt off. Now, it's kind of hard to describe, but have you ever felt like you're just going through the motions, like you've built something that it's working, but it's not quite working for you anymore? Well, that was me, and I ignored it because, well, why would I question it? The money was there, the results were there, but to tell you the truth, deep down, I knew something wasn't quite aligned. Then I started asking myself, am I actually in the wrong niche here? Or is this me secretly kind of sabotaging my business? Now, I'll explain to you what actually happened shortly, but first, let me take you back to the exact moment that I realized that something had to change. So, for years, I was helping business owners overcome self-sabotage, which is a huge topic, right? So some clients struggled with imposter syndrome, others with procrastination, some feared kind of success, others feared failure, and others couldn't simply scale past a certain point because of deep-rooted mental blocks. Now, these were entrepreneurs, but they weren't the same type of entrepreneurs. Some were gardeners, authors, restaurant owners, e-com founders, charity owners, etc. And at that time, I thought, well, if I can help all of these people with all of these things, then why would I limit myself? But here's what I didn't actually realize. When you try and help everybody with everything, you don't end up actually going deep enough to create a real impact. Because these industries were so varied, right? So my coaching had to stay relatively broad. I'd jump into group calls and I'd realize some things applied to gardeners, but not restaurant owners. Some things clicked for e-com founders, but didn't land with coaches. Now, we got results, make no mistake about that. We made money, but I just knew that it could be better if we simply made a few changes. And here's where things got really, really interesting. Because the moment I made the change, everything flipped upside down. So that was it. I did it. I just shut everything down. I stopped working with a broad audience of entrepreneurs and just focused only on coaches who were stuck in a cycle of self-sabotage. And the craziest part, instead of actually losing clients, my business actually grew, but not in the way I actually expected. At first, I thought I've cracked the code. I was getting clearer responses from the right people. My inbox was filling up with messages from coaches who needed and wanted my help. But just when I thought I was onto something, reality hit. And what happened next almost made me quit everything. But before we get into that, let me show you and tell you exactly what happened when I niched down even further, both the good and then I'll get on to the bad. So there was a few pros of niching down. Pro number one, I started attracting the right people instantly. Now, before I was talking with business owners at every level, including people running an 8-figure business, right? And whilst I could help them with self-sabotage, they often needed and wanted business strategy beyond what I was specializing in. Now, I've built and scaled a coaching business. That's my zone of genius. But I couldn't fully relate to an e-com founder making 20 million a year because, well, I'm not there, at least yet anyway. But now my content speaks directly to coaches. They come to me and I get messages like this all of the time. And that instant feedback made me think that I'd made the right choice. But we'll get into that in a moment. Pro number two, my content hit harder. Before, I was creating content for business owners, and that was quite broad. I was trying to relate to everyone, and often it felt like throwing content at the wall and simply seeing what stuck. Now, it worked, but only to some extent. But now every post, every video, every email, every story post, they all speak directly to my ideal client's pain points and limiting beliefs. The third and final pro, I had more sales with less effort. So here's what blew my mind. I used to focus on more leads, more calls, more reach, more everything. But after I niched down, I had fewer leads, but a higher conversion rate. Every person who booked in a call was already my ideal client, and because they saw themselves in my content, the trust was already built. But before you think this is all sunshine and rainbows, let me tell you about the dark side of this decision. So at first, I thought I had everything figured out. The moment I niched down, I started getting clearer responses from the right people. My inbox was filling up. But then all of a sudden, things got really quiet and reality hit me like a brick wall. Sales slowed down, my content wasn't reaching as many people. I kept refreshing my Instagram analytics, hoping that the numbers would pick back up. And that's when the doubt crept in. Did I just make the biggest mistake of my life? Am I now too niche? Is this me sabotaging myself all over again? And this is where I need to tell you a story, because pivoting my business felt like following the wrong GPS on a road trip. So imagine you're cruising down a motorway. Everything is smooth. And then you take a new route. Suddenly the road signs don't match, the landmarks are gone, and your fuel gauge is dropping fast. But you keep driving, convinced everything will simply smooth out. Then you pull over, you zoom out of the GPS, and suddenly it hits you. You're not lost at all. You didn't make a mistake. You just switch routes, and this is the slow stretch. This is the price of the pivot. That was me. At first, everything seemed great. Then things got quiet, we had less sales, fewer conversations, my momentum just stalled. And then just like zooming out on that GPS, I saw it. I wasn't failing, I was rebuilding. So I stayed the course, and about 90 days later, the momentum came back, sales picked up, and the conversations reignited. Because that's the truth about pivoting. There's always a price to pay for the pivot. The only question is, are you willing to wait for the results? Because I waited, and within 90 days, my business exploded, and we did 30K in revenue in 1 week with 10K cash collected. So, should you niche down? Honestly, yes, but only if you do it the right way and you are actually patient. So if you want to see how we generated 30K revenue in 1 week with 10K cash collected, then go and watch this video right here.